Wow, Women of Wrestling is back. It is being relaunched next September by LA Lakers owner Jeannie Buss and David McLean, who is the creator of the original Glow, the Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling, and WoW as well in its previous incarnations. WoW Women of Wrestling has been around before. This is just the latest relaunch. They made the announcement at a press conference on Wednesday. They were also joined by Tessa Blanchard, who is not only the main star, but one of the casting directors for the show. And in a surprise, they were also joined by April Mendez, the former AJ Lee, Mrs. Phil Brooks, back in wrestling for the first time since 2015 when she left WWE. I don't think this is what people expected when CM Punk came back to work for AEW, that AJ would also come back, but not in the ring, and not for any of the major promotions. She will serve as the executive producer and color commentator for the show, which will air in syndication on CBS stations throughout the country. It's a syndication deal, which, won't mean much if they don't get clearances in most states. You can have a syndicated show that airs in 30 out of the 50 states. I mean, if you're not in places like New York and, Illinois and major markets like New York and Chicago and Boston and places like that, then it's not going to mean much. But also the time slot. You can get clearance on a syndicated station somewhere, but you could air at 12 o'clock midnight or 3 o'clock in the morning or 11 o'clock in the morning. It could be a time slot like that. So we don't know exactly when and where the show is going to air. But the show is going to be called WoW Superheroes, built around Tessa and their champion, The Beast. WoW, it used to air on Access TV a few years ago until Anthem bought Access, and that pretty much spelled the end of not only WoW on Access TV, but New Japan as well, since Anthem owns Impact. Past seasons of WoW are expected to air on its own Pluto TV channel starting in December. I will vouch for Pluto. Pluto is awesome. I watch it every day. They have entire channels devoted to specific shows, among other channels, movie channels, comedy channels, all kinds of, different genres and stuff, game show channels. I love it. And they have a channel devoted to old pro wrestling as well. And I will watch that every now and then. And they actually air a lot of those old Glow shows. So you see the original Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling will be on there sometimes. Other times it's classic, I don't even know what to call it, if it's like compilation shows or whatever, but like old Memphis matches with Jerry Lawler. And I flipped it on one day and it was like Jerry Lawler was on there in the ring against Nick Bockwinkel, I think, and there was a young Cactus Jack, and then they'll have independent shows, Beyond Wrestling and stuff like that, shows with some of the stars that you see on TV today. I was watching something the other day and there's Tony Nese and Drew Gulak and people that you'll see on WWE television today. So anyway, the point is they have a whole bunch of different channels, and it looks like WoW is going to get one of their own. But on the WoW YouTube channel, Izzy, the super fan, remember Izzy, Bailey's biggest fan, the one who Sasha Banks made cry on that one takeover show? Oh, that was so great. I've met Izzy and her parents, actually, when I was going to a lot of those shows and even some of the WrestleManias and stuff, and they seemed like very lovely people. But Izzy did an interview with AJ Mendez on their YouTube channel, and she said, "I say the same thing in every interview, and it's always never say never, but don't hold your breath. What I mean by that is I never say never to anything, physically, mentally, emotionally. I'm healed from everything I've gone through in wrestling. I could technically do it." She's referring to an in-ring role, getting back in the ring and wrestling. "I could technically do it, but I'm so enjoying letting the next generation have their spotlight. I got to do everything I wanted to do, so it really would have to be, is that challenge there? I don't think the girls need me there. I think they're going to take over the world all by themselves." That kind of flies in the face of what her husband said when he was asked about it a while back by the New York Post, and he said that she can't. Like, physically, it's completely out of the question at all, an in-ring return. She seems to be leaving the door open for an in-ring return, but she seems very happy being out of the ring and doing other things and being behind the scenes. It is smart for them to bring aboard someone like AJ to be the face of this thing, but she might not want to be the face of WoW if they keep doing stuff like this. They have produced a new t-shirt for Tessa Blanchard, who has not done anything of note since being stripped of her Impact World title last year, and denying all the allegations of bullying and racism that were levied at her by not one person, not two people, multiple female wrestlers. Levied a lot of very serious accusations at Tessa. She already had a reputation, supposedly, for not being, the most well-liked person necessarily in the locker room and making a lot of enemies and not always treating people the right way. Those stories, which is all they were, right? Those stories were out there long before these more serious accusations came out last year. So she hasn't done anything of note since then. And so it is no coincidence that she has been a free agent ever since, because her name is toxic. WWE and AEW want nothing to do with her. Either company could have had her at any time. And Tessa Blanchard in the ring as a performer is very good. Adding Tessa to the women's division in AEW would have been a huge boost. Adding Tessa to Raw or to SmackDown, she could have been mixing it up with the best that they have. And she could have gone on to become a really big star. The fact that neither one of those companies signed her tells you everything you need to know about what they think of her right now. The fact that her father works for AEW, she's got an in. She's got an in right there. And the fact that she's not there tells you all that you need to know. Now, she has denied all of the allegations against her. She never apologized for any of it. She doubled down. She said, I didn't do any of this. These are all lies. That's not the person I am. And look, if she insists that it's all lies, then I guess she would have nothing in her mind to apologize for. Right? In her mind, why am I going to apologize for something that I didn't do? But it's a bad look when you have multiple people coming forward to say that this happened, or they know someone that it happened to, or they believe the person making the accusations. Tessa has made a lot of enemies. It's not all because of jealousy. There was a time when I said Tessa Blanchard is going to be headlining WrestleMania one day in these next few years against Charlotte Flair. I saw that as a potential WrestleMania main event. The two daughters of the Horsemen, right? Just that's how you market it. It sells itself. Tessa's very talented, but she made a choice, and that choice was to double down and insist that that's not who she is. She never used that kind of language, and that's that. Well, that's certainly one path to go down, but it was a bad career choice. Now, if WoW wants to give her a platform to rehab her career and her image, they're free to do that. Just like fans are free to decide if they want to support a product and support a company that employs her and features her as its poster child, because it looks like she's going to be their main star. She's going to be the face of WoW Women of Wrestling. The market will dictate whether or not that is a sound business strategy. What is not a sound business strategy, and is incredibly fucking tone-deaf and stupid, is playing off of that with a t-shirt. There were reports, a few months ago that WWE and AEW and even some independent promoters, they were steering clear of her because, in their words, she was nuclear. That was the word in that report that was used at that time. The woman is nuclear, so we're going to stay away from her. We're going to steer clear of her. We can't go near her. And so what WoW went and did was make a t-shirt on Pro Wrestling Tees with a mushroom cloud on it that says nuclear. And Tessa Blanchard's name is underneath. The woman is nuclear because she is accused of racism and bullying. Whether you believe her or not is irrelevant. She is accused of some terrible shit. This company thinks it's a great idea to play off of that and draw even more attention to it, which does not speak very well to the people who run this company. So this went over about as well as you would expect on social media, and we're still a year away from them even running their first show.